Good evening. I want to welcome everyone to tonight's meeting of the Rockland Board of Sewer Commissioners. This is an open public meeting being recorded on Zoom for the display later. The public is welcome to attend these, but there'll be no public comment or input at this meeting for now. The purpose of this meeting tonight is to interview a candidate for the position of Superintendent of the Sewer Department. His name is Mr. Daniel Dempsey. Mr. Dempsey, I'm Chuck Hession, I'm the Commissioner, Chairman of the Board of Commissioners. Ms. Sherry Valley, she is a Commissioner, and Mr. Dan DeRoss. Sherry and I will be asking you the questions tonight. You take as much time as you want, elaborate, do whatever you want to do. We'll take it from there. With that said, I'll take a motion to open the meeting.
Make the motion.
Do I have a second?
Second?
I have a motion open, a motion a second. All in favor, Mr. DeRoss?
Yes.
Ms. Valley?
Yes.
And Mr. Hession's a yes, that is unanimous. The meeting is now open. Okay, Sherry, why don't you start us off?
So, Dan, please, briefly, tell us about yourself, your professional work history, education, any special training that's prepared you for this job.
So I've been with the town of Hingham since 2015 and the sewer department since 2017. I rose to the rank of sewer foreman in 2019, which then I share the role of acting superintendent, or supervisor, sorry, when the supervisor is out on vacation or he's out getting a hip surgery right now. He also got one out in 2020, so that was about 4 months. So in total, I've done it for about a year as supervisor.
And for follow-up, tell us your experience with the NIPD's MS4 permits.
So we don't do too much, I don't do too much with the MS4
Okay.
permits,
No.
other than we do a log sheet and then we have a meeting every year.
Okay.
So we log in all the generators for leaks and do we detect anything like that.
And follow-up wastewater operator's license, do you have one, or would you?
I do not, but actually I start class tomorrow at the Peterson School. It's a 10-week course, 30 hours. Upon completion of that, I'll be able to go for the wastewater 1 and 2 license. So hopefully, 11, 12 weeks I'll be able to
Thank you.
at least get that going. I'm not sure how long the state takes.
Right.
But yeah, I start tomorrow. Should be fun.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Are you're familiar with an NIPD's permit, National Pollution Discharge Elimination System?
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever, what level of operation is yours? Like ours is a grade 7. What is the current one you're working in?
All of ours goes to MWRA, so I'm not exactly sure what
Okay.
level they
Okay,
are.
so you'd be different on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have a little bit of sewer that goes to Hull, to their treatment plant,
Uh-huh.
and then the rest goes to Stoddard's Neck, which is over in Weymouth, right on the Hingham line, and that all goes to MWRA.
Describe in detail what municipal experience you've had and how you plan on utilizing that experience in the role of a sewer superintendent.
So now I'm responsible for permits, making sure everyone is doing what they're told, cutting caps and all that for the contractors. I deal with zoning, a lot of conservation. Anytime we have a break, we have to call conservation. Usually it's a lot of wetlands in Hingham. So I've met most of the town, so I have a good relationship with them.
Are you familiar with the IPP program? Do you have an IPP program in Hingham?
That I do not know.
Okay. How do you track your restaurants and commercials
So we have a
establishments?
fog regulations.
Yeah.
Mostly the health department reinforces it, but every now and then when we do I&I inspections and camera work, when we come across grease, we'll be going into the restaurants and seeing if they're keeping up with their logs, making sure everything's up to par. And then if there's not, we contact the health department and then they kind of take it from there.
So you've done grease traps?
Yes. Yeah, we just don't enforce it. The health department enforces it. So we kind of
Same
work in tandem.
What do you know about inflow and infiltration in a sewer system?
So we do a lot of I&I work. We usually do camera and TV work in the spring, and then we have National Water Main Cleaning Services come in. They'll either line the pipe, or if it's bad enough, we'll have Delisandro come in and fix the pipe. So we do a good amount. Up until 2020, it's been a little slow for the last couple of years. But yeah, we'll do about 4,000 or 5,000 feet every year. We'll inspect them, and then we line, grout. Sometimes we do manhole rehab with concrete, and then we'll line manholes if they need to. We've also lined 2 wet wells from top to bottom. We've done that in the last couple of years. So a good amount. And then we also do manhole inspections on our own.
Do you do your own sealing, or you subcontract that out?
We subcontract that out through National Water.
Do you have a formal I&I program that you follow, or just as a result of each camera study, as each SSC?
MWRA has a I&I program that we follow.
So, are you comfortable with having to do the dirty work, such as the early grease trap inspections, late night calls, accidents?
So I'm actually on call right now, so on call is not a problem at all.
Okay.
That's normal,
Okay.
24/7, 365.
And you mentioned the markouts.
Yeah, we do markouts, we do everything. So there's 2 others employees along with myself and the supervisor, normally. So yes, we do markouts, grease trap inspections, basically everything pertaining to the sewer department. We don't have any on-call services day to day. We don't have a Veolia or anything like that. It's just us. So we do station inspections. You drive around looking at all the manholes, basically everything, down to mowing the lawn.
And what's your general knowledge of disconnecting from septic over to town sewer?
So we don't do a lot of septic, that's all in the health department, but we do a lot of demolition permits. So we do a cut and cap right at the street, then they demo the house, then we issue a connection application, and then they reconnect to the sewer. So we do all the inspections for that.
Okay. And how familiar are you with liens, waivers on sewer or sewer service blockages?
So we do a lot of blockages. We have a lot of grease downtown Hingham, so we'll have to deal with that a lot. Usually that's more of an emergency. We'll have them come in, clean the road. We do introduce microbes and then a fog prohibitor. We've been doing that for about the last 6 months. It seems to be working well, so we're trying to cut off fog. We've also done bioxide for the H2S smell, trying to eliminate that. So blockages are, here and there. We'll sometimes have residential ones where if it's in the town layout, we'll take care of it. We'll have them come up through the service and then we'll clean it, We have a lot of routes too, so we do a lot of that.
Okay.
We'll come in through the street, go up the service and right to the town layout. We'll cut out the roots and then we'll line the pipe once completed. Those usually are more than grease, is roots.
But you've never had any hands-on experience with the, having to put a lien on properties or residents for non-payment?
I've never had to put a lien on a property. I know how we do it is through the health department usually, but I've never personally put a lien on them. Our sewer department doesn't have I don't think, the capacity to put a lien on a house. I think it all has to go through the health department. Once the SSO is discharged into the street, it becomes a health hazard, and that's where they take over.
What's your actual hands-on, day-to-day experience running a wastewater system?
So we do the station checks. There's about 12 stations that we check every other day, I'd say, which pump the sewer from, one section of town to the next section, and then eventually it all ends up at MWRA. We don't have a treatment plant in Hingham.
You don't have any treatment plant?
No.
So you don't have to deal with sludge and the after it storage treatment?
No. I know a little bit about it, but no, we don't have to deal with any holdings.
Okay.
Okay. So I think we've covered some of the basics of the position. So I'd like to ask some more about qualifications relating to management. So what experience do you have managing staff? What's the largest number of employees that you have overseen?
Currently 2.
2.
Well, in the town, while I was a manager at Taco Bell, up to 12.
Okay. And can you give a specific example of a time you had to deal with a staff issue or potential staff issue, how you handled it?
So we don't have too many staff issues. Potential staff issues, we usually just see what the problem is, talk it out. I have 2 good employees I lucked out, so we don't have too many conflicts. But yeah, when we have any issues, usually the best route is to talk it out. We usually don't have to go any further. we kind of get along well at the town. So we haven't had too many issues. In the past, I've had to deal with write-ups and stuff like that, but not at the town, you know. Usually that was Taco Bell and it was kids, you know.
Yeah.
Well, in Rockland, the sewer superintendent, excuse me, has pulled in a lot of different directions at the same time. For example, right now we have 7 ongoing projects,
Yep.
all having deadlines for different things. How do you, what techniques would you use or do you use to prioritize your day so that each gets the appropriate amount of time and allocate priorities?
I usually start with the most priority or the one that'll be the most difficult to get going, and then I work down from there. I usually don't have any issues. We'll usually have, you know, a few contractors doing jobs in town, you know, cut and cap over here, installing a sewer over there, and then sometimes we'll have an electrician at one of the stations. So I kind of just float in between, and whichever one needs my attention first is what I go to.
Do you deal with the on-street projects as well as?
Yep. So we do any, if we're doing a forced main break, we'll have someone on site there. We did, I think, 300 feet of new pipe a couple of years ago over by the shipyard. So we'll be maintaining all that. We watch them put everything in. We inspect it as they're doing it. So we kind of just float around to wherever I'm needed. So I'm used to that.
Okay. Do you have any experience with expenses regards to budget, department budget, establishing a department budget? What is your experience developing a budget, annual operating budget, as well as any town meeting, running town meeting warrants?
So nothing on town warrants, but we do a budget meeting every month. We sit down with the DPW superintendent, and we go over but he's responsible for the sewer department budget. But we all sit down together, and we go over it, where we can, what we need to do, all the I&I money that we have left over, employee money that may be residual for overtime, and then basically any other expenses. And then we do a capital outlay project once a year. We put together, you know, 4 or 5 things that we need capital for, and then we present it at town meeting.
Now, do you do that on your own, or do you do that in
We do it as a
conjunction with?
group,
As a group?
yes.
Are you familiar with the Uniform Procurement Law in Massachusetts for contracts, public construction bidding laws, and awarding contract services?
Yeah, so we hired a lady at the town hall. Her name's Kathy. She does all our procurement. So we work with her, and she kind of keeps us on the legal side of everything to make sure everything's good. We just procured a control cabinet for one of our sewer stations and also a 25 horsepower pump we just did.
Are you familiar with have you been through any courses for the Chapter 30
I haven't been through any
orientation?
courses, no.
Have you ever had to negotiate a contract or implement a contract by yourself?
Not by myself. We use Weston and Sampson. We have on-call contracts, one with National Water Main for any blockages or any cleaning that needs to be done, and then a digging contract through D'Alessandro for any dig repairs that we need done. We do that every 3 years. We actually have to do it in December.
Okay, on your daily job, Dan, like, what kind of daily projects would you be doing yourself today? Like, today, what did you do, and how would that work that you're doing, that job, relate to a sewer superintendent? What
So-
are you doing that's similar to that position?
So today we did a few permits, got those going. I got the guys going this first thing. Get them going on station checks and getting everything going for that. And then I did a few permits, and then we don't have any large projects going on right now. We actually have pending a lot of lining, so we're waiting to hear back what we're doing with that, get the scheduling down. So we've been waiting. We have a lot pending, just nothing going on currently. Last week, we did a blower install at one of our sewer stations to kind of get all the grease, the mat.
Yep.
So we install a blower. So I'll meet with the electrical contractors for that. I usually stay on site with them, make sure there's no issues. And then a few cut and caps, and then 1 or 2 installs.
So I refer to it as cradle to grave, so you've followed a project from its onset to its closure?
Yes.
Okay. Have you any experience of writing grants or investigating grants, or
I've
do you
been
know
in
how to seek
meet-
grants out?
I've been in the meetings that we've done for grants. I don't know how to set out to get the grants. I just know the right people to talk to. We use Weston and Sampson's. They help us with all of our grants and anything that we get from MWRA.
Well, you've mentioned several times that you work as a group. How do you work as a team and staff in other departments, within your group, to make sure of a timely outcome of a project?
So we all work together. If, like, we have 2 projects going on, we'll have 1 employee working with 1 contractor, and then usually I can float and do whatever little things need to be done, like say a contractor's just doing a quick install of just a service, something quick. So we kind of just work together. I tell the employee, hey, this is what we need to look for, these are the things, we take pictures as they're going, just to make sure everything's getting done properly. We have rules and regulations, so we kind of follow that.
So you keep everyone involved, so they,
We try to, yes.
okay.
Yeah, it's just easier, because if I know everything and, Jim doesn't know anything, that doesn't help the department. And then we also work in tandem with the highway department and Tree and Park during, storm events and anything like that. So we do work as a group.
Okay, as a flip side to that, how would you handle a project if it was falling behind, if you had an individual that was managing that for you or overseeing it? How would you handle that situation?
I'd want to know why it was falling behind, maybe they were hitting an immovable object, ledge, something like that. That usually slows us down when we're digging, or something, unforeseen. Maybe, coach them up, see if they're taking a little bit longer than they need to be. Maybe they're going for parts that take a little bit longer, see if they need a liaison, like, okay, you can go get the pipe for them, or they can kind of help out with that. Kind of coax them along if I need to.
Okay. Sure, yeah.
So customer service is very important to the town of Rockland.
Yep.
As a sewer superintendent, who do you think your customers would be?
The town. The town is the most important thing, even in Hingham. I mean, they're the paying customers at the end of the day, so I'm very, I try my best to attend to their needs, We get phone calls, the sewer station smells, is there anything we can do? Hey, this manhole's rattling. I try to take care of it. Even those small little things, I try to get done as they're asking. That way they don't become a nuisance. Because we have, 5,000-6,000 people on sewer. We want to keep them happy.
And are you comfortable speaking with the public? How would you-
Yes. We
Have you
speak
had
to
to
the
speak
public
with,
almost every other day. We did
the
sump pump
residents?
inspections for 2 years. We visited every house in Hingham to see if they had a sump pump in their basement to prevent I&I. So we've definitely met with almost all the public.
And are you,
then we'll go to town meeting and stuff like that. So I've definitely met most of the public. Also, before sewer, I was Tree and Park. So once again, I come to your house, I do tree work, stump removal, stuff like that. They would always want to talk, so yeah, that's never been an issue. They seem to like me.
are you comfortable speaking with the vendors or developers?
Yeah, that's usually the biggest part of my job, is all the contractors and all their personalities, We don't do we don't do any installs, very rarely. Usually it's all contracted out. You, the homeowner, has a contractor come in, do the service, I just inspect it, but I need to make sure they're qualified to do the work and that they do the work per our regulations, so I make sure that we have a good relationship with them. There's about 30 of them.
Describe your ideal boss.
That is a good question. Probably the boss I have now. He's quite nice. He's understanding. He lets me learn before and fail, and then teaches me how to correct that. He doesn't just say it's this way or no way. It's, I can kind of learn, because there's always different ways for a different outcome, as long as the outcome's the same. So the boss I have now is pretty good. He's very, he lets me learn. He gives me enough rope, and then if and when I do something wrong, he corrects it, and then we move forward. We have a good relationship. I've known him since I was about 5, so that does help.
That helps.
That helps.
But yeah, we have a great relationship. He thought I was Tree and Park. I didn't know anything about sewer. He thought I would do good in sewer. I said, you're out of your mind, it's gross, and I knew nothing, and now I know 20 times more than I would have if I had just stayed with grinding stumps and throwing down mulch. So, someone like that, someone that's willing to nurture a relationship. You know, I don't need to just be yelled at all day, you know, so, yeah, I'd say my boss.
And how do you handle it when your boss is wrong?
We usually have to talk about it, you know, there's been a few instances where he thinks he's right because it was the right way 20 years ago when he was me, and it's just, technology's changed, the pumps changed, the control panels have changed, it's just, you know, so when you're not the guy in the station every day, you think you're right, so we've had those conversations, and usually he sees it my way, or we come to, you know, we both learn. But yeah, we get along great. We definitely butt heads, but at the end of the day, we get along great. I wouldn't say we butt heads too often. That's a good thing.
That is a good thing. Chuck?
If you had to tell us one thing let's talk in your wastewater background from what you've had. One job, one accomplishment you really is most proud of, what would that be? One thing that you've accomplished and it gave you a real sense of accomplishment.
We did a lot of I&I work, and we've taken out a good amount of water into the sewer system, and we really do work well with the contractors to perform all that. We probably removed, you know, a good 500,000 gallons of water in the sewer system. I'd say I'm pretty proud of that.
Okay, in doing so, what was the most difficult obstacle doing it that you had to overcome?
Usually the contractors and time management. They want to just go, go, go. They don't want to stay in one area and kind of focus on it, so you got to kind of lead them, you know, hey, we're going to stay here and we're going to keep going this way, and then they just want to get their footage and go. They don't want to always just wait and inspect everything. Usually the contractors is where we have our...
You got a good relationship with your contractors?
Yes, at the end of the day, we have a great relationship, but
So there's none you have to really excessively ride?
no, not excessively. Every now and then we got to remind them, this is why we do what we're doing. You know, we need to see it. There's reasons for it, you know. Every now and then, especially after COVID, we had to relearn a few of them to make sure they follow the right procedures. Some are great. You don't even have to say anything, you know. But there's always a few that need to be corrected every now and then, but they're great too. You know, once you say it once or twice, they get it. There's a reason for the madness.
So speaking of COVID, we have come through the pandemic for the most part. What safety precautions did you implement throughout this to keep your staff safe?
So we all separated. We all got our own trucks, and we stayed away from each other. So everyone did their own tasks. We came in every other day at the beginning, like right at the beginning, right around March of 2020, right when it was real bad. So we'd come in separately, because obviously you can't stop emergencies, you can't stop problems, backups, everything like that. So we stayed away from each other for a long time, and then we sanitized all the stations, keep doing that now. Yeah, we just started riding together probably last year in the summer. We just started getting back into close quarters. So it was different, it was weird.
Yes,
I
it
mean,
was.
Definitely don't wish to do it again.
What experience do you have working with the town committees or with elected boards or commissioners?
So I work with the sewer commission. They meet monthly. I don't know how often you guys meet, but they meet every month, kind of the same deal. And then on boards, we meet only when necessary. I know a few of them, the zoning board and the planning board and the personnel board, but I only meet them when necessary. And then, can't think of any other boards that we meet with. Zoning, that's about it.
For this Board of Commissioners, communication is going to be an important part of this position. Describe how you determine what information you feel should be conveyed to the commissioners.
At the beginning, I would say everything, and then pull back as you guys would request. You know, the more information I always find better. I don't know if you don't know, you know, so I would want you guys to know basically everything, and then as you go, we don't need this, you don't need this, we can kind of work, you know.
And what do you feel is the best way to share that information?
Whatever comfortable with you guys, phone calls, I don't mind, emails, text, whatever's convenient. I feel like the more you guys know, it will make the job easier. You know, I don't like keeping people in the dark. I don't like being kept in the dark. It makes the job way harder when you don't know something, especially if you guys, you know, need something done. I want to be able to do it in a timely manner, you know? There's nothing worse than getting back to the DPW and they go, oh, there's a blockage over at Otis Street. Did you know? And you go, no, I didn't. That would have been nice to know. It's 4 o'clock. So, no, the more communication, always the better. And then just scale back from there.
How do you stay current with your licenses or potential permit and regulatory updates, policies? How do you keep yourself up to date on that?
Most of it's online now. We use At Leisure. I use the e-portal for my pesticide license. They just started doing online classes. That's every 3 years. The At Leisure's every 2 years. I'm not sure how long the treatment plant license is. I think it's only 2 years, but that's online too. And then Peterson School has a license prep if I needed it. Once I have achieved the license, they have a prep class to go back and whatever I need.
Do you attend any technical seminars, or have
We
you
used
requested to
to.
go any on your own?
We used to. I haven't been in a while.
I want to piggyback on something Sherry said about interaction with the commissioners. Unfortunately, we're in a difficult spot right now because of money, like every other city and town, and
Yep.
we're establishing programs to just, if anything, we probably ask too much is about dollar and cents because it wasn't asked in the past. So that's something you have to be aware of. We're going to be really after the money, where's it going, how, not questioning your integrity at all, just.
But I understand. You need to
Needed to
account
know
for every
that.
dollar, and I don't blame you. My superintendent's just like that. He's very, you know, I need a screwdriver. Okay, thank you for letting me know. Go ahead and buy it. It's not, we don't have carte blanche to go anything.
Well, one thing we want to get through to, or let you know of is that conflict negotiation with the regulators. Rockland recently has gone from administrative order to administrative consent order. We have terms and conditions with deadlines that have to be met with the EPA and Mass DEP, or there's going to be fines involved. Have you ever had to negotiate contract resolution with either the EPA or DEP or MWRA directly, your personal negotiation with them?
Not directly. The only one I've talked to is Mass Fisheries. Usually when we have an SSO, we have to talk to them about the clam flats and how much sewer actually got out. We have to do a volume count.
Okay, say if there was a conflict, regulators aren't easy. Have you ever had to deal one-on-one with the Mass DEP or EPA?
No, I've just talked to them. I've never had to deal with them, no. I've met them.
So you'd really, right now, currently, you have no level of authority to deal with them. That would be the superintendent.
Yeah, no.
Okay, and again, so obviously you've never worked in a municipality that was under a consent order from the EPA.
No, not that I would know, no.
Have you ever personally prepared a technical scope of work for the sewer system as far as without assistance, for an outside engineering project? Do you delegate all of that out to another engineering service?
We'll come up with ideas for it, but we always send it to an engineering firm for them to go over and look at everything.
So have you ever had maybe not a scope of work, a syllabus of, okay, here's what we've, a formal, a bid scope to say, here's what we're looking for, here's what we need to
Yeah,
accomplish?
we've
Have
done
you had
that
to write
with our
that?
wet wells.
Yourself?
Yes, we've done that with our wet wells and our rehabs. We'll get an idea of what we want done, get the scope of work, get the prices and everything, and then
But
we'll
you've
have
done
it.
that on your own?
Yes.
What's the most expensive project you've
Been
handled on
part
that?
of. The most expensive I've done with is about $50,000. That I've been a part of with the sewer department is probably, I think it was probably like $300,000. And then we just had a meeting for our forest main, which was
Okay,
almost
let
12
me ask you this, have you ever, or do you feel you're qualified to prepare a document for long-term I&I repair, or a scope of work for an SSES study, CWMP, Comprehensive Wastewater Management Plan? We have one in process. But more importantly, would you be able to write a best management plan for a facility, a full operation for sewer facility?
That I don't know. I could look into it,
That's a fair answer, that's a good answer.
because we don't have a facility as it is now, but I do have the right people to call.
Okay, but and part of that would be an in-depth contingency plan for failure and. Okay, now here's another good one for you. Rockland is in a major need of a significant sewer upgrade project. We had a study done by Wright Pierce that indicated the need of a $50 million sewer upgrade.
Yeah.
That's utopia if we could. That was pre-COVID. You've obviously never had any experience in a sewer upgrade, major sewer upgrade.
No, not to that extent, no.
Do you have any project experience, or general knowledge or education, or other experience that you can offer that you could manage a large-scale project like that?
I definitely could manage the contractors doing the project. I have a good relationship with some big companies that we use, the Williamson Electrics, the state bid for the pumps, motors, electrical control panels, stuff like that. They install wastewater treatment plants. They're the ones that help build them. So I definitely have a relationship with them.
But you're comfortable that if you got into a plant upgrade, if a contract says, well, we want to do this, this, and this, and are you qualified, do you feel, to challenge that, say, no, I'd rather go with a process like this because, or would you?
I don't know about challenge. I could definitely understand where they're coming from if they explained it, this is the reason they want to do this, versus if I had a better solution, I'd have to see the plant.
But you'd feel comfortable that you could research that?
Yeah.
And look into and come up with an understanding?
Yeah, we did a project 2 years ago. We installed VFDs, new pumps, new drives in one of our sewer treatment plants. Took quite a while. We had to have a few talks about trying to get the job done, in a timely manner. And that was one of our larger sewer stations. We installed a muffin monster.
Well, if I remember, didn't Hull do a major upgrade, or isn't it?
I think they're undergoing a major upgrade.
Pardon me?
I think they're undergoing it right
They're
now.
undergoing, did you have any interaction with that, or?
No, so they're all subbed out through Woodard and Curran. So they have just a DPW/sewer superintendent.
How long you been on, totally off the code, how long you been on MWRA sewerage?
Oh, probably, I think they've been on for, since the 60s.
And they have the same sampling protocol, once a month sampling, and
Yes, they do it at their Stoddard's next location.
have you ever had to prepare the reports for that sampling?
No.
Sure, you're,
Okay, so what do you see as your strengths related to this job or position?
I try to be the best liaison. I think that's what you guys need, is someone that's the middle, someone that can work with the town and the commission and kind of be your eyes and ears, because obviously you guys aren't here every day. You have jobs or whatever, and you need someone in the middle to try to voice your opinion or your regulations and enforce them. I think that's the most important part. You guys are in charge.
And what do you see as your weaknesses related to this position?
Probably time management, managing family time and work time. I just recently had a child, so I'm adjusting to having time management. So it's the first time I really had to
Do that, congratulations.
do it. So it's the only thing I can think of that's gonna be a hiccup, but I can definitely handle. I have 2 other jobs. I landscape on the side. I'm not afraid to work hard. I'm not afraid of any of that, so. I think that'll be my biggest challenge, though, is time management, making sure he has time, and obviously you guys have the right amount of time,
And how does this position fit into your overall career goals?
So I guess it would be the next step up, I would assume. I think it's a nice challenge. I don't know everything, that is for sure, but, I do enjoy learning. I like to challenge myself, and I think, given time, I would learn, and I think I'd be a good fit. There's definitely gonna be a lot of learning, but, I definitely know a few people to help me learn, and definitely contractors and people I've met along the way to help out.
A little bit about Rockland, so you know what our operation is like. We're a 2.5 million gallon a day system. The building, the facility was constructed originally in 1962, 63. Again, we need a significant upgrade. We have major problems, not just last year like everyone had with flow overrides, but we have a major I&I problem that we're fighting for flows. The consent order was for flow violations. The facility is currently operated by a staff of 8. It's under contract with, formerly was Suez, it's now
Yep.
Veolia. We have a project manager there, assistant project manager, and he has 6 staff that they handle everything within the gates. Your responsibility would be the capital assets within those gates naturally to come up working with the, project manager and how, what is needed, how we're gonna accomplish that. You'd be interacting quite a bit with new developers coming into town. I'm just giving you a general overview of this. Right now, with that administrative order, we currently are under a moratorium, which is no more development until we can recapture some of that I&I,
Yeah.
which we have a plan to do. And then it'll be just a gradual piecemeal of opening that capacity up for additional operation. I think one of the benefits to you is that if we progress further in a second interview, we'll probably send you a lot of paperwork out to review, look at. Again, this is a key position in town. We're not gonna, and I'm sure you understand, we're not gonna make a decision overnight.
No, I wouldn't expect you to.
But, on behalf of the board, I do wanna thank you very much for your interest in coming in. Boy or girl?
Boy, Elijah,
How old?
8 months, December 22nd.
Good luck. But,
Oh, he's
no, I wanna
cute.
thank you very much for your time, Dan.
No problem, I really appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time to come in.
Do
Yeah.
you have any questions for us?
No, not that I can think of. Actually, yeah, where is the I&I? I'm curious.
The I&I is, let's put this way, we did a sewer system evaluation study, SSES. It found the 67,000 gallons we're going after was found in manholes and
So a lot of infiltration at the manholes itself, right around the
manholes
pipes?
and as well as the pipes. We do have another batch of I&I that's out there they found in the sewer mains. And the biggest hit is on the laterals, and naturally, laterals are on private property.
Yeah, we have a tough time. We can't get anybody, like if I find it on your property, that's it, it's still there.
Right, it's still there. We're hoping to come up with a program that we can capture that, because unless we capture that, we're still, and I&I, as you know, is like
It
it's
migrates.
a phantom. It's
It
never gonna
migrates.
go away.
It just keeps going.
But we've got to try to make as big a hit as we can. I had a thought and I lost it.
Which company do you use for I&I? Sorry.
Well, we're right now, we're going out and Weston Sampson is writing our I&I program. It's gonna be rolled over into our CWMP to go after that I&I. Right now, we're having a contractor prepare a scope of work, technical specs on the pipelinings. Everything goes with that to go out to bid. That's gonna be a sealed bid. Hopefully get a lot of takers and, do a cost-effective analysis on it. One thing I wanted to jump into is, have you ever had any experience going after sump pumps?
Yeah, I've done plenty of sump pump inspections. We don't have, so we have a fine. We can't make them take them out of the sewer. It's just a $200 fine.
Do you have an inspection for, and I'm doing this out of curiosity for my own, do you have a mandatory inspection, or how do you handle that?
I don't know if it's mandatory. I can go in, if I suspect that you have a sump pump, yes, I'm allowed to go into the house to
So if
see
you
if.
see, you physically see a discharge?
Yes, we've only ever come across, personally, I've only seen about 5. And I've got them all to disconnect.
5 out of 5,000?
Oh, at least. We've been to all the houses. A lot of people don't know they have a sump pump. That seems to be the problem we run into.
They say, I believe in Rockland that if you sell a house, you gotta have a sump inspection.
Yeah, we've been trying to as you sell a house, you have to replace the line. That's what we've been trying to push. So everybody, because Hingham sells a lot of houses, they've been going through, if you replace, 20, 30 a year.
I do want you to know, this part of the interview is picking your brain
That's
for
right.
us.
That's why I came to the interview. You never know what you can learn.
That's right.
But yeah, we've been trying to do that to help prevent I&I. If it's on your property, if you have to replace your service every time you sell your house, or prove that it is fine, we figured we could capture a lot of I&I and it wouldn't cost us anything.
Okay, I'm
Put it
gonna
in the
ad lib again. I gotta
regulations.
watch this because we gotta add these questions later on. Were you with Hingham when they implemented MWRA service?
No.
Okay.
He wasn't born.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, I wasn't born.
okay.
My dad was.
Daniel, I wanna thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
It's been a
Okay.
pleasure to meet
It
you.
was definitely a pleasure.
With that, I'll take a motion to end tonight's meeting.
I make the motion?
Do I have a second?
Second?
All in favor, Mr. DeRoss?
Yes.
Mr. Bisvalley?
Yes?
And Mr. Hessian is a yes. This meeting is officially closed.